Today I want to show you how to create product requirements documents, probably the most important document to get from an idea that's in your head to a product that you want to build, either yourself or with a team, or a prototype that you want to wipe code. The product requirements document is answering two fundamental questions. What are we building and why are we building it? If you are following my process here in the AI-enabled product builder videos, you know that we already covered the why through the product one-pager. So that is a separate part of the process. What we are adding here today is the meat. So we are adding user stories, acceptance criteria for those, basically defining the scope of what we are building. A PRD can have many more sections, but this is really the essential part that will allow us to start building. It's also important to understand that PRDs are a snapshot in time. Yeah, they reflect our current understanding of a problem and the resulting solution of that understanding. But once we start building, there's no question that our understanding of the problem space will evolve while doing this, which means our solution and therefore the PRD needs to evolve as well. So I like to treat PRDs as a documentation of that evolution, because that also allows me to keep everyone who's involved in the building process aligned with our understanding. What we're focusing on here today in this video is the initial version of the PRD, the one that you really need to start building. And in my case here, the one that I will need to start building a prototype through vibe coding. So creating this kind of input. How do we get there? The AI is basically workshopping with us. Yeah, it's not us prompting the AI in this case, it's the AI prompting us. It's basically conducting a workshop with me, as you will see here in a second. And it will gather my thoughts and ideas and my understanding of the problem space, so I can have the AI crystallize this and extract it from my brain. The skill that we are going to use for this, it's available for ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. I really recommend using Claude for this. Based on my experience, it's just the more human thinking partner that I'm working with. I will show it to you today in Gemini, so you can see that it also works in there, but my recommendation would be Claude. You can find that skill in my GitHub repository for the AI-enabled product builder. There you will find the product requirements document skill with a skill.md file. Just to go quickly through this, it basically starts with capturing your vision of what you want to build. So you can provide any input that you already have. For example, your existing one-pager that you created with my other skill. This is what I will do here in a second. But it could also be just raw thoughts, some ideas, or nothing at all. It will workshop everything with you if you don't provide anything. If you're using this skill, for example, as part of Claude Code or any other kind of terminal or IDE integrated AI, it's also able to scan your working directory to see if anything is already there. So if you have markdown files, for example, that contain context that is relevant, it will be able to discover those and will use that as context. It will create the user stories, including acceptance criteria, and will help you prioritize those user stories. So you end up with a scope for a first version that you want to build. It will ask you things like, what is the customer value? What is the value for the business that you are working for, and some other things. And ultimately, it will create a nice formatted and structured requirements document based on this template that I have defined in here. So that's how it works. Let me show you how I would use that. I created this one-pager, product one-pager in my last video. I did it with ChatGPT in that video, but I basically did the same thing here in parallel in Gemini. And this is the resulting product one-pager that came out of this quick workshop that I did there. What I will do now is just copy that as input and use my product requirements document gem. And in case you're wondering how to get that, in the AI-enabled product builder, you have available skills or GPTs for ChatGPT, for Gemini that you can just use, but you can also just copy the skill MD file into Claude or into ChatGPT, GPTs, or Gemini gems. So that's how you get to this thing. So this is skill for the product requirements document. And without further ado, I would just paste this in here and get going. Right, the workshop is starting. I have successfully captured the vision. You are building an AI native PM workflow tool to solve blank page syndrome, moving from quick capture one pager to full PRD. No existing files, that's correct. How do you envision the AI interaction model working during the workshopping phase? I want a conversational chat first interface. So basically the go back to the chat and iterate with the AI and so on. So you noticed I gave it quite a bit of more context here because I didn't feel like it had a good enough understanding yet of what I'm aiming for. So I just gave it more and didn't select one of these options. That is what I would always recommend if you don't feel like it's there yet. Okay, phase 3, audience and value. I understand the distinction clearly now. Idea phase is passive listening. How do users organize these artifacts? So in this case, I like one of the suggestions here, the pipeline-centric flow. So just say B. Okay, now we are working on user stories. When a user promotes an idea to a one-pager, how does the AI start the new interview? In this case, I will go with B again. I always wanted to validate first. Okay, next user story. If a user manually changes the document text, A would be nice, but I guess that's a bit tricky from a technical perspective. I will still go with it. Can figure this out later. We have a solid functional scope, a 3-stage pipeline powered by a conversational AI that adapts from passive listener to active interviewer and syncs context with manual edits. Now, to finalize the business rationale section of the PRD, we need to articulate why an organization would adopt this specific tool over standard docs, like Google Docs or Notion. What is the primary strategic value driver for an organization using this tool? Okay, let me answer this. So the main strategic value is throughput, speed in creating these artifacts. So as you see, if I don't like one of these options that it's providing, or I feel like there's more context missing, I just give it whatever I have in my mind. And you can see that talking instead of typing allows me to be much more verbose, which is really helpful for these kind of things. Okay, so and it believes it has everything it needs to put the PRD together. Let's see what it did. So we have a product flow AI as a conversational workspace designed to eliminate blank page syndrome for product managers. By replacing solitary writing with collaborative AI workshop, the tool moves users through a strict pipeline: idea capture, one pager, and PRD. Target users are product managers. We have success metrics from the one pager that I provided. We have the business rationale. Product managers often settle for good enough requirements. So that's what I just explained. And the business value is increasing the velocity of documentation. So now we have the user stories structured by priority. We have passive capture and structuring. As a PM, I want to dump my raw thoughts into a chat interface without being interrupted, so I can get everything out of my head quickly. Acceptance criteria are: AI accepts continuous text voice input without asking clarifying questions. Upon users signal, AI processes the raw input. AI outputs a structured idea summary. That's good. So you can see it put together quite a few user stories here, grouped them by priority. And the last section here is the UX and design requirements. It came up with a split screen interface. It has the key states. So I don't want to go through this entire document with you now. I just wanted you to demo how this could look like. I think the result is okay. I would probably iterate on this document now for quite a while. I said this in the beginning already, but just to reiterate this, you can use ChatGPT for this, you can use Gemini, but I would really recommend you to work with Claude on this, specifically with, at the time of this recording, Opus 4.5 is the latest and greatest model from Anthropic. I built quite a few of those requirements documents and product one pagers with it. And for the first time, I have this really scary feeling of working with a human while doing this. It's a really good thinking partner. Even when I thought I have full clarity on an idea of what I want to build, it exposed some gaps in it and thought about things that I haven't thought about before. It's really good at following my instructions and not making up anything in between that I don't really want. So that's why I recommend Claude for this. But to summarize, ultimately, this is an AI skill for you to workshop product requirements document based on existing input or from scratch, whatever you need. And you get a well-structured PRD that you can quickly share with other people for feedback, to iterate on it, create new versions if you end up iterating on the overall idea. And most importantly, you can use this as input for your vibe coding projects. So if you want to build a prototype, this is what you would use as input to steer the AI agent building your prototype. And that's exactly the topic of my next video. So thank you for listening and see you in the next one.